But here we are, Monday evening at Renew Recovery Community. And tonight, we're going to be blessed. Our dear friend Daryl is going to come and he's going to speak with us. Recovery is a journey. And it's a journey toward a life that we want for ourselves. And sometimes those journeys that we go on are ups and downs and valleys and off the side of cliffs and everywhere else. And all of us, if we're honest, we've got some sort of mental or addictive behavior that we have been dealing with or that we are dealing with. We've got some kind of condition that we're having to walk through in our journey. But that does not have to stop us from continuing our journey. It doesn't have to stop us from having fun as we go along. And I don't know exactly what he's going to talk about, but I saw the slides and they're fun. Borderline kind of off, but you're gonna get to see some of that tonight as Daryl comes to talk to us about his journey in life, some lessons that he's learned about life and about recovery. And he's going to use some travels that he's gone on to talk about his people, and people that he's going to be around and has been around and that he surrounds himself with. And that's really, really important. And so as Daryl comes to talk to us, I want you to kind of think about, as he talks about his people, again, I don't know what he's going to say, but I've seen the slides. And some of those people I'm going, whoa, no, I'm just kidding.
One in particular.
Yeah. But we need to stop seriously and think about who are we surrounding ourselves with? And what are they doing to us or for us as we move through our journey in life? As we move through our journey in recovery? Who do we surround ourselves with? Because who you surround yourself with does and can make a difference. So let's open with prayer if we would. Father God, I just ask you to come upon us right now with your Holy Spirit. Speak through Daryl as he comes. Bless him. Bless our dear friends that are going to come and lead us in music later on. You bless us through them. So be with us now as we give all the glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen. Daryl, come speak with us.
I think it sounds kind of hot. I'll back up just a little bit there. There we go.
So me, I'm hot.
Roger and I were talking the other day. I'm wearing this shirt, okay? And so this past September, my wife and I completed a mission we started in 2018. My aunt, you'll see the family in just a second, my aunt took 28 of us to Hawaii in 2018. We rented vans and went to a couple islands. It was like the Clampets invaded Hawaii, okay? And on the flight back, we were looking at the map, and I lacked about 22 states, and she lacked like 26 states. And I said, you know what, let's do all 50. And so we put plans together, and my aunt said, we'll go to Alaska next year. And Rhonda said, well, they can go, we ain't going with them. And I said, well, why? She said, I want to do it last. And so Alaska was our last state. We finished that up this past September. It was our longest vacation. It was our most expensive vacation. We don't pay much money I spent because I'll be sick, okay? But we had a ball, and all I got was this T-shirt. I'm kidding. I got more than a T-shirt. My wife bought this before we left. And so I wore it when we got off the boat at Ketchikan. That was our first stop, okay? So looking back over the last several years, I learned a lot of lessons, things that I would do again and things I wouldn't do again or I would do differently. Does that make sense? Okay, and so I started thinking back through even through the lessons of my whole life and things and where I've taken steps to where would I ever do that again that way, yes or no, and why, and how do I take that and apply that to my life and my own recovery. Okay, so that's what this is about tonight, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, just so we know. Okay, so first of all, I need you to know the lessons that I learned from my journey of life. Okay, And Roger just said it, your people matter. Okay? And you all are my people. I'm closer to some of you than I am others. Brandon and Hannah are my people. Okay, he's my little brother, and we sit back in the band and make fun of people and have a good time together, and everything else, swap tuners and the whole bit. All right, he's like just a great friend of mine. And you matter. One of the things that most people, when in the throes of addiction, one of the things that first happens is that we take on this self-loathing, and we start to think that we don't matter. And the truth of the matter is that you all matter. And I matter. My presence here tonight and your presence here tonight matters. There are people that love you. Okay? And if you weren't here, it's a big deal. Last Saturday night, not this past Saturday, but the week before, on Friday, a friend of mine called me or texted me and said, hey, we're bringing my dad home from the hospital. He's only got a few hours left, and thought maybe you might want to come see him. And I said, I'll be there. And I showed up, and I walked in, and I had this big goofy beard. You'll see that in a second, too, okay? And I had this beard, and I walked in, and hardly anybody knew me. And Wendell was a few hours from death, leans up and says, well, that's Darrell Collins. I said, how'd you know me with a beard, Wendell? I went over, and I hugged on him laying there in the bed, and we talked a while, and we got to visit a while, and we prayed together and all that. Saturday night, I got to go back and spend more time with him Saturday night. We got to pray together. And the man hadn't moved in 2 hours. And his daughter's got this hand, and I've got this hand. And we finished praying, and he ripped his hand away from her to shake my hand. He can't open his eyes, he couldn't move, but he was trying to shake my hand. Okay? We all just stood around, and we spent time together. It was just precious. And Sunday, he passed away. And now that void is left in that family's life, and they're all dealing with the way they do. And my point there is that if you weren't here, there'd be somebody mourning you that way. Okay? The last thing is time's short. We started 4 years ago trying to get this thing done, and it was like wildfire going from state to state to state the way we did it. We literally drove through Nebraska and counted it. That's all we did. Okay? That was it. Made one stop for gas, bought a magnet at a gas station, and we were gone. All right, so this surprise. Okay, Brandon and I were in a program at church. On the 16th, we did the program.
It wasn't like
yeah, and if you find our church YouTube page, you will find the link to the commercial that we made. This was a commercial that we made. That's a moon pie in my overalls. Those overalls are older than Brandon is, okay? No joke. My wife bought those for me the year we got married 33 years ago. And I can still get in them. I had to unbutton the sides, but I still get in them. And that's part of the cast. We were the country bunch, okay? And that's some more pictures from the program that we did, okay? And that's the big long beard I had. I shaved out the chin, made lamb chops, and that's Elkin Taylor. He's got a farmersonly.com profile. That's a joke. He doesn't. And that's some of the folks. But that's our program at church. The program itself is on YouTube, and also the commercial that we did. The commercial's funny. The program's funnier. Okay? But we had a good time with that. And Brandon played Pastor Green. We called him Pastor Lavender, Pastor Brown, Pastor Blue, all sorts of colors. He's Pastor Green. This is my family. My wife of 33 years, and this coming June will be 33 years. Our son Adam and his wife Katie. Their children are Judah and Ruthie Kate. She's 6 months old this week, as a matter of fact. Our daughter Hannah's 23. She goes to UTC. These are my people. Nobody matters more in the world to me than they do. And listen, if I had to choose whether or not they were uncomfortable for an hour and you all had to die, guess what I'm choosing, right? That's how much they mean to me, okay? And it's not their happiness I'm much concerned about. It's I want them to be well. Yeah. And when my son lives in Greenville, my daughter's in Chattanooga, we're stuck here, and we see them as much as we can. And I always like knowing that they're home safe at the end of the night. Does that make sense? This is my bigger family. This is almost all the crew that went to Hawaii. My son and his wife are back here. They didn't go. Judah wasn't alive yet. This one wasn't alive yet. But that's our crew. That's my aunt Helen. It's my dad's youngest sister, and her husband John. She's my only living. Well, my Uncle Raymond's still alive. She's my only living aunt from my dad's side. Yes, ma'am.
Is the fur baby real?
No.
Bear?
No, it's a bear. It's a bear. That's in a cabin. We rent a cabin every Christmas for 3 days. Okay, And somehow everybody survives. Okay? I don't know how, but that was the morning we were about to leave. We got a group picture, and I'm standing up on my toes in the back so you can see me. But that's my bigger people. Does that make sense? All right, now then, some of these are old, all right? This is my freshman year. There I am. This guy here's name is Mike Burgess. There's Donnie Watson. There's George Bunch. That's Chris Hall. He lives over here across the hill. I'm still good friends with him. I don't see Buck here as much as I'd love to. I hardly seen Buzzy since, or James since, or even Jeff Lawrence. Here we are, our senior year. There's me, my buddy Donnie, my buddy Mike, my buddy Richie. There's George right there. This is Kevin Kaiser. He's passed away, and that's Chris. We call him Sky. He's passed away. This is the day I got married. Don't see anything about those 3 pictures. Same group of guys, right? Well, there's 3 of us right there. We're still buddies. If I got to get in a foxhole somewhere, that's the dudes I'm calling. I was in their weddings. They were in my weddings. We hang out together when we can. We play golf. We talk. They know more about me than anybody but my wife. No joke. They've seen the best of me, the worst of me. They picked me up and threw me in the back of a pickup truck when I couldn't walk. We were young. And they're my dudes. Okay? Everybody needs a group of people, a small group of people. If you have 100 people in your life, 88 of those relationships, non-family, 88 relationships are transactional. So what does that mean? Well, they're in your life because they provide a good or service, or there's some reason you have to be together. Brandon and I are in a band together. If I didn't like him, that's still transactional. Does that make sense? We're in something together. Of the 12 of the 100 left over, those are your friends. Okay, that's my band members. And then there's about 3 people of that 12 who you're really close to. All right? And so most of us spend all our time trying to please the 88 instead of the 12. Right? And the biggest thing is the only way it really matters are 3. Lessons from my journeys in travel. This is the fun part. All right? So this is things about things I would never do again, things I would do differently. I did learn this. Always have a plan and have a map, because this GPS thing only works if you got signal. Okay? My wife and I went hiking in the Smokies and had no signal. And a guy says, I'm going over here because there's these lady slippers, that's a little flower, over here that across this hill, and there's a cave and all this stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to go with him. So we get over there, and we cross the hill and go up this thing, get over here, and we get there, and he's like, well, there it is, man. He says, I'm going to go that way. And I went, you're not going back? I went back the wrong way. I wound up on top of a mountain, on a cliff, looking down on the people I was trying to get back to. Okay? Pulled my phone out, and thank goodness the GPS did work, but I had to be able to know where the creek was and the road was, okay, to figure out which direction to go. And I'm following that thing, and that's how I found the top of the cliff. And I thought I was going down a straight line. So I had to move over here and literally shinny down the side of a mountain, okay? And the last 12 feet, I slid on my rear end, and it was like, and I jumped out on the trail that I came on there, right? So I go walking, and I'm walking, again, I got my little creek in my road and my little GPS, and I walk back that way. As I come out, I find a sign that says trail closed, no admittance, and I'm on it. 2 rangers are standing there. You ain't supposed to be back there. So you're telling me. My wife was furious. Always have a plan. Always have a map. And if you want to travel, just go. I know people who work their whole life and do nothing and save all their money for retirement so they can do nothing.
Yeah.
If you want to go, just go. Okay? That's what we did. All right? And yeah, and there were times that it wasn't cool. We stayed in the sleaziest hotel I've ever been in my life in Hagerstown, Maryland. Oh my gosh. Okay? I don't know what was cleaner, the needles we saw or the carpet. It was bad. And we're like, let's just get through the night and we'll move on. We're going to Maine. We'll be fine. But just go. Finally, on the 4th of September, 2023, we landed in Ketchikan, Alaska. I wore my shirt. It rained that day. The whole place smelled like dead salmon. And there's hardly anything there. It's an old mining town that used to, and the claim to fame is not only that the mine that ain't there no more, it's the red light district that ain't there no more, okay? But all the shops are still there. And the salmon come in every year about September the 4th or so, and they all swim up the creek and they all die. And everybody takes pictures of all that mess. And there's bars and things like that and restaurants and that kind of stuff, and there's people who live there year round. But that's the first stop we had on, and my first time we landed our feet on Alaska, right? Now, so that was victory. And I'll get to more victory about recovery. So the next several slides you're going to see are all things that are found in our journey of recovery. We have 12 steps, and we have 8 principles, right? And it sounds like a mathematical equation, but if you look through and follow through, this is kind of out of order, okay? And that's okay, all right? But every time I came across a lesson in our book that we've got for these lessons, I could apply it to something in my life that was outside of recovery and also part of recovery. Does that make sense? That's kind of what these pictures are. So, all right, so then these are pictures from Alaska. That's a brown bear. Brown bears can be black. Black bears can be brown. The only thing that makes it a brown bear is that hump. Okay, we saw a bunch of black bears, and the guy said, those are browns. And I said, how do you know? There's a hump on the back. That's the only difference. And they're not very big. They're not like the big massive ones. Grizzlies are bigger, Kodiaks are bigger, but they're isolated from all the other bears, and they're their own kind of little animal kingdom thing they've got, okay? And their diet's different. A lot of bears eat whatever they can find. Some are vegetarian, some eat salmon, some eat other things. If you come across a Kodiak, it's not that he's hungry for you. It's that you look like you don't belong in his world. And instinctively, he's like, kill it. So when people go hunting Kodiak, they do it from a hill with a rifle and a scope and the whole bit, and nobody gets near them. And even when they shoot them and go get the bear, people are terrified in that little island that they live on. It's called Kodiak Island. They're 9.5 feet tall, okay? And they move like 35, 40 miles an hour. So don't fall down, okay? Or you're going to be dead, okay? That's a tail of a humpback whale. This is the big glacier in Glacier National Park. It doesn't look like it right there. That thing's almost a mile wide from here to here. It's 280 feet high right there. Another 100 feet deep underneath the water. Okay? And we're about 5 or 6 miles away, maybe 7 miles away at that point. And it looks like it's right there. It's that big.
Oh, wow.
And that glacier goes back 20 some odd miles in there. This is a glacier at the top of a mountain. I forget which one, but it's just a pretty picture. We saw moose, we saw eagles. This is a little island we actually went to where we saw the bears. It's really cool. And that is, I'm almost sure that's the Mendenhall Glacier that's in Juneau. I think that's what that one is. Rhonda can tell you. Those are just too pretty not to share. We saw a double rainbow, and if you look real closely, you'll see all the little black dots. That's the window of the train we were on, and it rained that day. And I still got that picture with all that color. So all these little bushes down here with all these little colors, those are birch trees. And different kinds of trees. They don't have big hardwoods because they don't have a long growing season. They're little bushes is what they are. And the moose eat them. The leaves are their food. But that's on the way up to, that's the Alaskan mountain range. And then inside of that is this. These are some glaciers we crossed over. And that's Mount Denali. That's the view we got from the helicopter. We were probably 25 miles away at that point. I have flown over it in a plane before on a big jetliner going to Japan and looked down and we were 30,000 feet. But you could tell that thing, been covered with ice for years and years, thousands of years or whatever. But just a beautiful view. Now, lessons from my journey in recovery. Daniel chapter 1 says, but Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself. Okay? Y'all remember the story of Daniel, lions den, the whole bit? Well, it came down to whether Daniel was going to eat the meat that the king offered up, and the King James says meat, food, whatever. It's not necessarily meat or drink or whatever. It's that it was their stuff. Okay? It was probably offered to idols and a whole bunch of other things. And Daniel says, I don't want to be a part of that. Can I just eat what I want to eat? And is that okay? But he resolved he wasn't going to do it. And the word resolve means, resolve means to decide firmly on a course of action. And the principle there is principle 3. It's where we consciously choose to commit all my life and will to Christ's care and control. And I'll tell you, some point in time in recovery, usually it's early on, and it happens about 12 times for most of us, okay, is that we decide we want recovery. And when you finally get resolved that, no, I don't care what happens. I got to get clean. I got to get well because my people matter and I matter. That's what will happen. You'll resolve. Y'all have heard Carrie Freeman's been here a couple of times. And and for her, it was her mugshot she saw. She says, I got to do something. And when you finally decide firmly on a course of action, you finally get resolved, good things can happen for you in recovery. This is where we're about to take off in a helicopter. Now, we watched the helicopter fly in, okay? This is what it's like. I'm standing around and thought, she's going to puke. was the first thought I had, okay? We got in that helicopter, got strapped in. She was sitting up next to the pilot. I was in the back seat, okay? And so I leaned up and got the picture of her. I said, you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready. We take off. It was easier than riding in a car with me. I never felt any of that. It was all so smooth. We had a ball in a helicopter. I'd do that again 100 times. $1,200, okay, so you can't do it often. But I'd do it again. That's step 6. We were ready, entirely ready to have God remove all of our defects of character. I'm one of the most self-aware people that you'll meet. I know all my faults. I don't deny them. I know them. I talk too fast. I say okay every other minute sometimes. Right? I do. Right? I know all my own faults. I do. I know all my own faults. Okay? I try not to. Okay? But I'm self-aware. All right? And in my recovery, what happened was I had to get ready for God to remove the things that were character defects from mine. I was talking to Brandon and Hannah earlier, and I am fine everywhere in my life except work. And at work, I get mad. And this has been going on for months, and I've become a person that I don't even like. Okay? I'm serious about that. And I've told guys I work with, I said, I don't like who I've become. We had a conversation the other day, and the guy said something. I turned about 9 shades of red. I said, this is not going well. Okay? I mean, I was just livid over something. Now, I had a right to be, okay? And I was right, but that didn't matter. I had lost control of the emotions that I had. Does that make sense? And I recognize that. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be Angry Bob. Okay, so how do I not be Angry Bob? Well, so one of the guys that works with us, he's Catholic. His name's Josh Hall, fine young man. And this was last year. He and I were having lunch one day with another guy, and they go all the time to the same place. And we get there, and they always order the same thing. You know, those people how to do that? They get there, and one guy always orders brisket, one guy always orders whatever, right? Josh sits down, and he orders chicken or fish, orders fish. And Zach says, why are you ordering, why you order your normal thing you get? He said, I gave up beef or whatever it was for Lent. And I said, oh, I've heard of that. Tell me about that, Josh. And so he began to explain that every year during Lent, they give up something. It's a conscious choice. And usually it's something that you like. Okay? It's sugar or it's chocolate or whatever. And the idea is it's a form of fasting. Okay? My 2 favorite foods in the world are beef and bacon.
Yes.
By far. Steak, hamburger, I don't care. If it used to move, I want to eat it, right? Okay? And I love bacon. Okay? So for the last almost 41 days now, I've had no beef or bacon. What I'm trying to do is bring my spirit under control by bringing my body under control. Does that make sense? Okay, it ain't working, but I'm trying. I'm really trying. I noticed something. No, but I noticed something though. Okay, I had no idea how much salt I was taking in with beef and bacon because I crave salt all the time now. And so I've eaten more Pringles than I've ever eaten in my entire life. Okay, just trying to get salt, right?
What about the biscuits?
I gave those up too, but that's over the story. I've got gift cards. I've got years of gift cards. I haven't bought Krispy Kremes in probably 3 years now. I need to go one Sunday and one Saturday and just pig out, but that's not the story. But you got to be ready. And I was ready for God to remove this thing in me. And so I decided, let me take a step and just try this and see what happens. Okay? And what I found is it's not enough. Okay? It's not enough. What I've chose to do is not. So I got to do something else. The finish line is Easter. I'm going to pass through the finish line and get through this whole week, and I'll be fine. And we'll move on, and I'll do something else. But I got to get me to where I can live with me. It's one thing if I'm a problem at home, or I'm a problem at work, or I'm causing somebody else an issue. That's a big deal. Don't get me wrong. But I don't like looking in the mirror and seeing this person that I've become. I don't want to be angry. I have a 3-year-old grandson. He could burn the house down, and I wouldn't care. I pick him up and go, it's okay, it's okay. Papa's boy, right? I don't care. My grandson, right? But we have to be ready. This is where I was getting to this thing here. Step 7, and this is something I learned. Folly's bound up in the heart of the child, but the rod of discipline. Now, figure out which kid in that picture is me, because I'm in it.
Well, all right. Bottom right.
Bottom right. Yeah? That's me. Most of my pictures as a kid, I had a goofy face on. Okay, just the way it was. And so I do whatever. That's a Miami Dolphins hat. We were in Florida visiting my aunt Pat and Uncle David. That's my brother Wayne, my cousin Philip. That's my mom up there, and my aunt Pat. Pat's still alive. Mom's passed away. When you hear the word discipline, most of us think about punishment, right? And that's part of it. Okay, but discipline is something that we can apply to our life. And as we apply discipline, what happens is, and that can be habits, that can be lots of things. Marines, okay, are a great example. The difference in a regular soldier and a Marine is that Marines have a different set of disciplines that they follow. Does that make sense? Okay? And it's habits and things that they do. And you'll find somebody who's a former Marine, they have certain habits and certain ways of doing things, and they're just different. Well, for us, discipline is a part of our recovery. It's part of my recovery. Okay? In 46 days of trying to give up beef and bacon, what that's turned into is I'm trying to bring discipline back to me and change some habits. Okay? We humbly ask God to remove all our shortcomings. That's step 7. Step 10 says we continue to take personal inventory. We use that word around here like we're counting sheep. It's not what it is. Personal inventory is a way of saying, look at everything, do a quick accounting of where we are and see how we're doing. And when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. That's a discipline. Right? And then principle 5 is based on the same thing. We voluntarily submit to every change that God wants to make in my life and humbly ask Him to remove my character defects. You see that? So when I get ready, the first thing we have to do is apply some discipline to our life. How many of you people are bed makers? You get out of bed and you make your bed. Not everybody, right? And it doesn't matter if you are or you aren't. But I know people, okay, who get out of their bed first thing in the morning and make the bed. And it's like their day can't move forward until they make their bed. All right? Just the way it is, right? That's a discipline. Okay? And you can apply that to anything. But these habits, and you can call them rituals or whatever, but they're things that we do that keep us aligned. All right? And so this was me being folly as a child. Okay? And the older I got, the better I got, the more I realized I need discipline. All right? And not that I need to be punished or spanked or beaten or any of that. I'm talking about I need to apply discipline to my life. Okay, and my habits. That's a picture of my dad and his best friend, Bill Couch. Bill's still alive. He's 4 years older than my dad. He's passed away. Oddly enough, they were best friends. Bill's son and daughter were raised like my brother and sister. And Stacy and I have been. Stacy. She's she's a retired teacher now. She married my best friend, ruined everything. And now I have to see Stacy all the time. And her and my wife are good friends, and so we get to go hang out. And I love because they can go do their girl things, and Dottie and I can hang out, and it works out great. Okay, but recovery is a team sport. You'll never do it alone. That's you folks are watching. That's why we meet here, because this is a team. All right, and it is. Okay. The faces change, the names change, things happen. That's okay. UT plays with a different team every year too. Nobody cares. I still pull for the balls, right? No. I do. It's a team sport. Principle 4 says to openly examine and confess my faults to someone, to myself, to God, and someone I trust. You got to have somebody who you can talk to about your real problems. Okay? And I'm one of these people, if something bothers me enough, I'll tell everybody. I told my Sunday school class Sunday to pray for me on this thing for work because I'm really bothered by it. Right? I'm actually do the same thing. I'm bothered by it. And I got to fix me because I'm not being angry any time in my life. And I become this cranky old man. I hate that. I know I'm old, but dang, I don't want to be the weird old man. I in a way I'd like to do that just to be funny, okay? But that's not me. And principle 6 is, and I just stopped it here because it's a longer principle. But evaluate all my relationships, and that's a constant thing you have to do is evaluate your relationships. Am I being the husband to my wife that she needs? Am I being the father to my grown son that he needs? Okay, I know I'm not doing any favors with the grandbabies. I know that. We talk about that, and that's okay. All right? But we also take care of Judah and take care of Ruthie when we're with them and make sure that they're loved and they're safe. And we're teaching the same things my son teaches them. Okay? But always, and Roger said a while ago, evaluate your relationships. There's some people you don't need to hang around. If I thought it was one person or two people that were causing me to have this anger issue, I just wouldn't hang around. But it ain't them, it's me. Okay? And so evaluate all your relationships. And in fact, this is one of the last classes that we'll get to before the end of the year. It's victory. I started with victory. I'm going to end with victory. And we use acronyms a lot. And victory is to voluntarily submit, identify your character defects, change your mind, turn over those character defects. It's one day at a time. Recovery is a process. And you must choose to change. It's just that simple. Okay? We have to choose we're going to change. That is a bay in Hawaii, by the way. I took that picture 2018. One of my favorite spots. I could have sat there all day long. I love Psalm 40. Okay? He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. If you follow through all the steps and all the principles, you will get to a point where you're giving back, okay? And you're leading people. Some of y'all already did it. Okay, there's faces here that weren't here until you got here. Some of you all, right? Just the way it is. And that's what happens when we're a new person. I promise you, people want to be around you. They will come and they will hang out and they will be with you. Okay? By the way, it's a PowerPoint presentation. Roger, if you got email, we'll email it to you. You have all these pictures. This is a mountain in the Smokies with Buddy Hiking. He took that picture. I just like the picture. Philippians 3:13 and 14 says, "Brothers, I do not consider that I have made it of my own, but one thing I do, forgetting that which is behind and straining forward or pressing forward or reaching forward or whatever you want to call it, to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus." Okay? Just keep moving forward. On that hike, it's 12 miles. Okay? It's 6 straight up and 6 straight down. Okay? We're on the walk up. Okay? We don't talk walking up. Okay? We're just trying to breathe. Okay? We're just. Okay? Somebody says, "You okay? I'm fine." Okay. That's what it sounds like. We get up top, we take a bunch of pictures, have a great time with that, and make our way down. About halfway down, my knees start killing me. Right? And I'm thinking, just keep walking. In your recovery, it's living one step at a time. It's one day at a time. Today may be a bad day, and that's okay. Okay, it's okay. There's tomorrow. Tomorrow can be better. We can choose to make it better. Okay? The day ain't over with yet. We can make the day even better than it started out. Okay? And there's nobody in life that I know who's the same person they were 25 years ago. Okay? Anybody? I'm 55, so I was 30 years old. I was older than Brandon and Hank. You're not 30 yet. Yeah. I'm older than they are. I had dark hair, parted on the side, thought I knew everything, didn't know nothing. Didn't. Compared to what I know now, I didn't know a thing. Life had so many experiences that I had to go through to learn what I know now. But looking back, man, I mean, just every day. and there were times I didn't get better, times I got worse, and mistakes I made, things that were real bad I did, things I would never do again, things that people that I hurt that I love. And I'm like, will I ever survive that? Yeah. One step at a time, one day at a time. God can restore relationships that you've broken. And He will. Because He restored my relationships that I broke. One recovery step at a time. All right? There's 12 steps, 8 principles. Okay? Don't jump ahead. I bounced all around on purpose, okay, to show you what it looks like, right? It's like your hair's on fire, isn't it? I don't know which was first. It don't matter, okay? We go in order for a reason. There's discipline involved with that. There's a building involved with that. You know, all music's mathematical. Did y'all know that? Okay. Well, math, okay, if you study math, it builds on the stuff before. And so does music. Okay, you learn to play 3 chords. You can play any song in the world. Ain't that right, Brandon? Right? Yeah, you got maybe the wrong key, okay, but you can play any song. You may not can sing it, but you can play it. Right? But you get better and you build and build. One principle at a time. Follow the process. It's a process. And I'll tell you, if you follow it, it works. And maybe today you got the principle 6 and you did it great for a week and you fell apart. Okay, get back up on that horse. Okay, proverbial horse. One stumble at a time, you're going to stumble, you're going to fail, you're going to succeed. And the last thing is, you need to always look back and reflect. That personal inventory that we take is a reflection. What did I do today? Yeah, make fun of Brandon's haircut. That was bad. That was nice to Gabe. That was good. I need to fix that. Right? You know, I mean, that's what that is. And I recount every conversation I have at the end of the day and figure out where I said things I shouldn't say or used a tone I shouldn't have used or whatever. And again, just trying to work through and get better. I'm done. Okay? I hope you like the pictures. I hope it's wide open. We still took a half hour. All right? We got Brandon Hannah coming to sing. Y'all can stand. He'll get his guitar ready. I love us on him. She was singing earlier, warming up, and it just blessed me. I'm going to stand back here and change the lyrics, get out of the way right now, and then we'll come back and close. Thank y'all.
Go.
Take it off.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever
You have a beautiful voice.
Don't you?
Yes.
That's on.
No, I can listen to them all night long. You folks that are online, come back with us next week. We're here every Monday night at 6 o'clock. There's always a meal. There's always, usually homemade, almost always homemade desserts is part of it too, aren't they? The cakes are really good. Food's always great. We meet here at 6:30 every Monday night. There's small groups after that. Come be part of us. Thank you so much. And then don't forget to like and share our page.